Chris here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this 3-day reading vlog to wrap up October. So my main focus for this vlog is going to be reading some of the spooky and spoopy books I have out of the library. I did not get to anywhere near as many of them as I had hoped to get to in the month of October, so I decided to block off the last 3 days specifically for them. I have my spooky black cat with me, who is really just a cuddly sweetheart, though she can be a ginormous pain in the butt. What you didn't see and can't see is that I have another cat right here sitting in the chair next to me, kind of on my hip. And when I tried to set this one down after I finished filming the clip for my last vlog, this one started swatting at that one. And now she's chewing on me because she thinks I'm a chew toy. So yes, she looks sweet, but she can be very, very vicious. Can't ya? I mean, she's saying, look at me. Look at my face. I would never do something like that. Yeah, you would. Anywho, I have decided that a fun way to determine what books I'm going to read for my spoopy/spooky vlog is by spinning a wheel. If I can get my hand here, I have a wheel of names here with all of the spooky and spoopy books I have out of the library, and we're going to spin the wheel and see what I read first. Oh, Brookhaven. Okay, 1 second. What the odds are you think she'll let me set her down so I can grab it? Hang on, you can come back in a second. Hang on. Okay. There it is. Okay, so this is the Shadows of Rookhaven. This is the second book in the Rookhaven series. I read the first book in this series last year, and it follows Mirabelle, who lives in a house with family members, but they are kind of monster-like. Like, I remember that she has a relative living there that has the ability to turn into, like, a bunch of spiders. And I believe that she lives on the, like, outskirts of a town, but the town is kind of protected from the normal people. And two of them somehow managed to enter and meet her and go to her, like, house. It's been a bit since I have read that one, but I remember really, really loving it and really enjoying the story and the mystery and the monsters. So I decided to get book 2 out of the library. So this is going to be the first book I read for my spooky/spoopy vlog. Though I will say that I'm going to finish Dummy of a Ghost because I only have 21 pages left in this novella, and it is the last book I need for my Spookathon rolls. So that is going to be the first thing I do, and then I will read that. But otherwise, I will check back in with you sometime tomorrow, probably, because I don't think I'm going to be able to read that whole thing before bed, and let you know what I thought of the Shadows of Rookhaven and give the wheel another spin. So I have finished the Shadows of Rookhaven. I gave this 4.25 stars. This is the second book in the Rookhaven series, and this series revolves around this house that has these beings who aren't human and are considered by a lot of people to be monsters. One of our main characters is Mirabelle, and she is one of the younger crew, as these beings are immortal, so they can be quite old, but she is one of the younger members of what is considered the family because they consider themselves a big family. In this one, Mirabelle is excited about an event that's coming up called the Great Configuration, and a boy named Billy shows up, and he is out to protect his own family, and to do so, he needs to harm Mirabelle's. Of course, she doesn't know this when she meets him, and he ends up stealing something very important to Mirabelle, and she kind of has to go get it back. And the thing Billy stole could end up being very, very dangerous. So I really love this. I love Mirabelle and the family and getting to see how these beings kind of work and how they've grown to care for one another. We get to meet a lot of new characters in this one, and I thought that was quite intriguing as well. It definitely has those kind of, I don't want to say spooky vibes, because it wasn't really spooky, but they're considered monsters. Like, one of her aunts has the ability to turn into spiders. Like, her body is made up of nothing but spiders. So there are some aspects that can be a bit creepy and maybe kind of scary. But I don't know that spooky is the right word. I just know that I really, really like this series and getting to see how relationships kind of develop between these people who are different from us normal folk. Also, it takes place, I want to say, after one of the world wars, World War One, maybe? I don't think it ever gives a date. It just, I mean, it mentions a war, so, and like the past, so I'm pretty sure it takes place in London after one of either World War One or World War Two. And I think that adds to the atmosphere too, because you don't have like technology. And I think that's kind of important, because who knows what technology would be able to do when it came to sussing these individuals out. So I'm really enjoying this series. I was very excited to be able to dive back into it and get to see what Mirabelle got up to next. But with that being done, it means it's time to spin my wheel again and see what I'm going to read now. And here we go. Ooh, Devouring Wolf. So here we have it. I don't know much about this one. Ooh. It's the eve of the first full moon of summer, and 12-year-old Riley Callahan is ready to turn into a wolf. The unthinkable happens, though, when Riley and 4 other kids don't shift. Riley is left with questions that even the pack leaders don't have an answer to. And here comes Cielo. And to make matters far worse, it appears something was awoken in the woods that same night, the Devouring Wolf. And apparently this is a tale that is used to scare the young kids to obedience. And it says, gobble up this queer tale about kid werewolves, big bad mistakes, and frightening creatures. So I am very excited to check this one out, and hopefully I'll get some more spooky vibes. That being said, I'm going to go read this, and I will check back in with you to spin the wheel again when this is done. So I have officially finished The Devouring Wolf, and I'm giving this 4.25 stars. This follows Riley, and Riley is 12, and we just have all the kitties right now, don't we? And she is excited to finally be able to turn into a werewolf. This happens to kids in her kind of family, pack, clan, however you want to look at it, between the ages of 9 and 12. And given that she is about to turn... Could you? You blocking the camera. And given that she is now 12, this would be the time it would happen. And as the full moon approaches, she's really excited and nervous. And then, for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. Her wolf does not emerge, and she's highly disappointed. She's not alone, though, as 4 other 12-year-olds don't get their wolves either. She and the other kids are confused and frustrated and upset, understandably. And the adults in their pack don't have answers either. Nobody seems to understand why this has happened. At the same time this is going on, some unexpected things are happening. And Riley and the others soon learn that there are bigger things going on than what they thought. And it definitely plays into them not having wolf forms, and end up kind of trying to look into it to find out what is going on and why this has happened. I really enjoyed this story and seeing Riley bond with the other kids who are kind of forming her wolfless pack, since none of them seem to have a wolf form right now. I like seeing them start to trust one another and work as a team to figure out what is going on with them and why they haven't changed. I like that there is a lot of queer rep in this story. Riley has 2 moms, which is seen as completely normal, no big deal. One of Riley's friends, another one of the kids who does not transform, uses they, them pronouns. And Riley is fantastic at handling that and working with that and making it seem completely normal, as do the other characters we come across. There is no instance of any issues with members of the pack being queer, which I really, really love. It's just, you know, seen as completely normal, and I like that. I enjoyed the mystery aspect of them trying to get to the bottom of what was going on and the bigger forces that were at play. She just took a leaping dive and almost fell on the floor. I really enjoyed this book and the story that was being told and the threads that were kind of woven into this that lead to the next one. This is the start of a series. So I absolutely, definitely want to pick up book 2 at some point. Hopefully sooner rather than later, because this really drew me in and I didn't want to put it down. This also means that it is time to spin my wheel again to see what I'm going to read next. And we're going to go with, as Cielo helps, ooh, The Vanquishers. Let's see. Voila, The Vanquishers. This one has vampires, so that's going to be interesting. We're following Malika Boog Wilson and her best friends who have grown up idolizing the Vanquishers, a group of heroic vampire hunters who wiped out the last horde of undead decades ago. And most people no longer take the basic precautions except for Boog's parents, which embarrasses Boog. A friend goes missing and Boog isn't sure what to think, but is it possible that it could be a vampire, apparently? And no one expected the Vanquishers to return, but if their town needs protection from the undead, Boog and her friends know who to call. So this one sounds like it's going to have some vampire aspects, or at least potential vampire aspects. She's driving me nuts. So I'm going to go read this and do something with her, because apparently right now I'm not allowed to film because she wants cuddles and attention. And I will check back in with you when I finish this to tell you a better synopsis of what it's about and whether I enjoyed it or not. I'm back and I have finished The Vanquishers. I'm giving this 3.75 stars. So in this book we follow Bug, and she lives in a world where vampires used to exist, but the Vanquishers took them out. Her parents still subscribe to a lot of the old school ways of doing things when it comes to vampire protections, even though vampires no longer exist. When a friend goes missing, Bug isn't sure what to think. There's a new guidance counselor in school that she's a bit suspicious of, but she also wonders if maybe vampires aren't as gone as everybody thinks. And she really wants to find her friend, so she kind of gets wrapped up in that and drawn into the mystery. I enjoyed this more towards the end and the way things kind of progressed at the end than I did in the earlier parts. I thought the early bit was a bit slow, so it took me a bit to get into. I am very intrigued with where things are going because this is the start of a series, which I did not know when I picked it up. So that was a surprise at the end when it wasn't wrapped up in a nice little bow and had like very obvious threads to where book 2 is going. So I really enjoyed that bit. I liked Bug's relationship with her friends, Cedric and Jules. They also have parents that subscribe to the old school way, so they kind of get each other. And their teacher refers to them as the squad. They're like that close and they're kind of attached at the hip. And I really like their relationship and how they have each other to lean on when it comes to dealing with their parents' old school ways. I like the friendships in this book. I think that is the strong point of the story. And like I said, I'm curious to see where things go. So this is definitely a series I'm going to add to my series to continue list. I will say it is much easier talking about it when I'm not trying to fend off a Cielo. She is currently in the other room. And I purposely made sure she was in the other room so that I didn't have to deal with her this time. But that means it's time to get back to the wheel and see what I'm going to read next. And Smore Magic, a graphic novel. That's exciting. So we have Smore Magic. This is the third cat hair. Gotta love it. This is the third book in the Witches of Brooklyn series, and it follows Effie, right? Effie, who in the first book, I believe, learns that magic is real. Although it's been a while since I've read the first one. It's a cute little graphic novel that follows witches. Obviously, Witches of Brooklyn. I have no idea what this one's about, but I've really enjoyed the first two, so I'm quite excited to dive into this one, and I'm very excited that I have a graphic novel, because I have a bunch of those, and I was hoping I would get to some of them. Not that I'm not enjoying the novels, but I could use a quick, easy read for a change. So I will be back probably sooner rather than later to give the wheel another spin and let you know what I thought of this one. So it has been a little bit, and I am curled up in my bed, and I have finished Smore Magic. I'm giving this one 4.25 stars. In this one, we follow Sophie, and she is a witch in training. And in the third installment of this series, she is headed to a month-long summer camp. And one of the things at the summer camp is the potential to learn green magic and develop a green thumb, which Sophie quickly does, and not all of the other campers are thrilled about it. I really enjoyed this one. I loved getting to see Effie learn this new kind of magic and make some friends at the camp. I really like the art style of these graphic novels, and I think it adds to the story. It was fun being back with Sophie, and maybe not being back with the usual crew because she's at the summer camp, but it was nice to see her meet some new people and to experience a different kind of magic than maybe she was used to. So that was fun. And I liked the journey that she went on. It had some really cute little summer vibes with the summer camp idea. So still really, really loving the series. And I think this makes me caught up. So that's pretty awesome as well. That being said, it is time to spin my wheel again, which is easier said than done because I've got one there, and I got one in my lap. So, we're going to spin the wheel. We'll see what we get. Ooh, Source Line. So this is another graphic novel, and I don't know much about it, but Steph recommended it for, I want to say, spoopy books that she really enjoyed. It's down there, and I'm going to need both hands to grab it with hopefully not disturbing the cat. And here, you want to be on camera? Oh, you're going to take a bath. Oh, okay, she's going to take a bath. So I'm going to share that when I check back in when I'm done with it, which may also still be tonight. Depends on how quick it goes. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it, but it was a recommendation that Steph made, and it sounded interesting, so I snagged it. So I will be reading that, and then I will check back in with you. So it's a little while later, and I'm back because I finished Source Line. So I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. It took me quite a bit to get into. This follows Source Line, and she loves mythical creatures and ends up going to Archibald Balazar's prestigious school of cryptozoology and is eager to test her knowledge, but soon one of her other classmates disappears, and it leads her to discovering some things about herself that she didn't necessarily know, and that could be a bit scary. Like I said, it took me quite a bit to get into the flow of the way this graphic novel was written. Yes, Cielo, they can see you. Oh, yeah, yep. She's got to be the star of the show. So it took me a little bit to get into the way it was written and it flowed and how these scenes would change and the transitions between the scenes. And I think that brought my rating down because there were times I was a little bit confused about what was going on and I had to like go back to see if I had like skipped a page or missed something. Yep, there's no way I can do this where she's not gonna help. I was hoping she'd stay asleep, but that was probably a pipe dream. Anyways, I struggled with that, but by the end I was invested in the story, and there's a lot of mystery going on. There's a lot of unanswered questions at the end, so I definitely think it's a series I plan to continue. So I guess that's a good thing. I've definitely found some series that I'm interested in continuing and reading more from in the future with my spooky vlog. Okay, where's my other phone so I can do another spin? I definitely will not be checking back in tonight. I'm tired. I'm ready for bed. But I wanted to film this clip quick and figure out what I was going to be reading in the morning. She likes to stick her head in my mouth. So we'll give this wheel another spin and see what I will be reading in the morning. Ans Ghost. This is another graphic novel. I think I can grab it. So, Ans Ghost, another graphic novel. Another one I don't know much about. Let's see. We're trying to do this one-handed. Of all the things Anya expected to find at the bottom of an old well, a new friend wasn't one of them, especially not a new friend who's been dead for a century. Falling down a well isn't bad enough, but Anya's normal life might actually be worse. She's embarrassed by her family, self-conscious about her body, and she's pretty much given up on fitting in at school. A new friend, even a dead one, is just what she needs. But Anya's new BFF isn't kidding about the forever part. Well, that sounds ominous, so this will be what I read next, and it should be another quick read, so hopefully we will get another spin soon. I'm definitely making some decent progress in my spooky reads. If I remove that one, I'm down to 6, of which 1, maybe 2 are graphic novels, and then 2 are... Oh no, 7, because I have Dark Waters on here, which is the next book in the Small Spaces series. And I also have Empty Smiles, so I put Dark Waters on here with the idea that I could spin it twice. Because I wanted to read that one first, obviously. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm also planning on making this vlog go into the first 2 days in November, because I realized that the Final Book Support Group runs the 3rd through the 6th. So, based on the way I did it, I could do my spooky vlog for 3 days. Then I would have to figure out a vlog for 2 days and then do another 4-day vlog. So I decided to just make this one 5 days. And hopefully I'll be able to get through my entire spooky TBR, since I kind of need to get through them anyways. And the further we get into November, the less I'm going to want to read like super spooky books. Because I'm going to start to transition to my like winter, like Christmassy reads. Which will still be tons of cozy mysteries, because that's what I like to read a lot of in the fall and the winter. But I also tend to get on a romance kick, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's all for now. It's Halloween. I just realized I don't think I've mentioned what day of the week it is or time or anything in this entire vlog. So yeah, we're officially at Halloween. It's 4:44 in the morning here on Halloween, so I'm going to get some sleep. And I will check back in with you at some point tomorrow after I've finished Ans Ghost. So I'm back to do another check-in because I have finished Ans Ghost. I think I'm going like 3 stars on this one. This one wasn't my favorite. And this one we're following Anya, and she ends up accidentally falling down this like empty well or this like hole. and stumbles across the ghost of a girl named Emily. And she accidentally brings one of Emily's bones with her, which allows Emily to travel with her. And things get really interesting from there with Emily, who has no intention of going away, and Anya not being sure she wants Emily to continue to stick around. And I don't know, I didn't particularly like Anya as a character, and I didn't really get into the story that much. It might actually be more like a 2.75 now that I'm thinking of it. We'll see where I end up, but it's in that kind of a range. It wasn't my favorite book, and it didn't really have that, like, spook factor that I was going for. It was just kind of blah. So, not my favorite. But that being said, it means I can spin the wheel again. And we're going to get this time. Ooh, Dark Waters. So this is the next book in the Small Spaces series by Catherine Arden. And I believe in this one, I think it has something to do with like a deep sea creature or a deep sea monster. So I'm a little nervous because I find those books very spooky. At least the first two were. So I'm a little worried about reading this one, especially as we descend into dark. But I think it'll be all right, and we'll give it a go and see how much of it I can get through before dark. And hopefully I can finish it so that I can spin the wheel again and get something maybe a little less spooky. I also wanted to show you that my old lady here, Miss Nuji, has curled up in bed with me. This is new. She doesn't normally do that, so we're enjoying that. And yeah, we're gonna go and we're gonna start Dark Waters, and I will check back in with you when I'm done to let you know what I thought of it. I finished Dark Waters and it was creepy. I knew it was gonna be at least based on the first two books. I know that I've heard a lot of people find this to be the least creepy, but I think that was gonna be book one for me. In this series, we're following three kids, Ollie, Brian, and Coco. And in the first book, they end up getting kidnapped by the Smiling Man. And he starts turning their classmates into, like, scarecrows on a school field trip. And then in the second book, we deal with ghosts. And in this one, we deal with a lake monster. And I thought the lake monster was really creepy. It hit on some of my specific fears, so definitely creepy. I gave this 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed it, despite the creep factor. Though it probably wasn't what I wanted to be reading after midnight. It's definitely not a book that is going to relax me and make me want to go to sleep. So I will definitely be doing another spin to try to hopefully read something else. And unfortunately, Empty Smiles, the fourth book in this series, is a possibility. So if I spin Dark Waters again, I would have to read the sequel, and that's terrifying. So, like I said, this one deals with a lake monster, and I thought the lake monster was super creepy. This ends on a cliffhanger, so while I do really want to read Empty Smiles, I don't really want to read Empty Smiles right now. Tomorrow would be good. During the day, after I finish whatever book I spend tonight. Although I have, let me see, I'm looking. I have 3 novels and 3 graphic novels of the 6 books I have left. So if I get a graphic novel, there is a pretty decent chance I will be back to spin again. That being said, here we go. Come on, there you go. So apparently I'm not sleeping tonight because I got Dark Waters again. Okay. Empty Smiles it is. I will be finishing this series. As far as I know, this is the last book in the series. So I will be checking off a series on my series to continue list, which is actually kind of awesome given that this is a final book support group month. And the idea is to, finish your series, even though the readathon runs from the 3rd to the 6th. So, goody, creepy clowns. So, that should be fun. And, yeah, I'll be back because it's too early for me to go to bed, as silly as that sounds at 2:45, especially with how creeped out I am right now. And I get the feeling that I'm going to be creeped out during this one too, so I'll probably be back to get one of my other books that will hopefully be less creepy. So I'm going to go read this, and then I will see you in a little bit. So it's just after 5 a.m., and I've finished Empty Smiles. I'm giving this 3 stars. I thought this book was creepy. I thought the atmosphere was really great. I thought that the story was wonderful in the way it kind of built on the tension as the book went on. And then the ending just went... That's the best way to describe it. It fell off of a cliff. Everything was headed in the right direction. And then all of a sudden it was like, bam, over, easy, done, bam. It ended so incredibly abruptly. And it just seemed too easy. This whole book is building up this tension because this is the big finale. And things are going smoothly and it looks like it's going to be really hard. And you're wondering how the kids are going to win this time, to escape the trap they found themselves in. And they just do. And I was so disappointed. Like, I feel like this needed a couple more chapters to really properly tie things up. And I was so disappointed by the way everything was so perfectly built. It was a 4.5 star. And then... So here I am. And then it just fell apart. It was like she got tired of writing and decided to just take it home and wrap it up. So that was highly disappointing. But if you want a spooky middle grade series, I would suggest this because it was totally worth the read, and I wouldn't let the last little bit detract from the brilliance that is the rest of the story. So I would recommend this series if it sounds like something you're interested in and you would like a kind of spooky middle grade that is, for middle grade, pretty decently scary. That being said, I need to read something that is not scary, so we're going to spin the wheel here as I force Cielo to sit still so she won't knock the camera, and we'll see what I will be reading for a little bit before bed to try to use it as a palate cleanser. Let's see. Ravenfall. Okay. So we have Ravenfall. I don't know anything about this. As I haul Cielo back again. We're following 13-year-old Annabella. And she's never been normal even by her psychic family standards. They use their abilities to run the Ravenfall Inn, a magical B&B in the crossroads of the human world and the other world. But it's hard to contribute when your only power is foreseeing death. And then 14-year-old Colin arrives searching for his missing older brother and the supernatural creature who killed their parents. And Anna jumps at the chance to help him. But the mysteries tied to Colin go much deeper than either of them expects. The two team up to find answers and unearth Colin's family's secret past and discover that Colin has powers beyond his imagination. And now, the supernatural creature, one with eerie origins in Celtic mythology, is coming after him. If they can't stop the creature by Halloween night, the veil to the other world could be torn open, which would spell destruction for their world as they know it. So this feels like it's going to have some spooky vibes, but maybe not creepy like the other books, so it should be a good palate cleanser. And given that it's like an actual proper novel, it should take me a little bit longer to get to the spooky stuff because the beginning part should be a lot more of the setup and getting to know the world as opposed to the spooky stuff. So I think this will be a perfect book to read for a bit before bed, and I will check back in with you at some point tomorrow afternoon to give you an update on how I'm doing. Hopefully I'm done with it by that point. November 2nd. I did not check in at all yesterday because I stayed up till ridiculous o'clock in the morning, which I mean technically was yesterday, but you all get what I mean. I did not end up checking in at any point after like 5 in the morning, and I was getting ready to start Ravenfall, and then I just did not have enough time yesterday between having to leave the house and wrestling to check in, and then I was really tired, so I ended up just crashing. So I didn't finish this until today. So this is a book that follows 2 POVs. We have Anna, who lives at the Ravenfall Inn with her family, and her family has magical abilities. This is a magical B&B, or a B&B that caters to magical people, though it does host regular people as well. And it kind of lives on the edge of the other world. And Anna has the ability to kind of see death. If she touches you, she sees a death that you've seen or witnessed. And she doesn't think that that's as impressive as her family's ability. Enter Colin, our other POV. He just lost his family in a murder, and his older brother is trying to track down the people that killed his parents. And they were always told if they got separated for whatever reason to go to the Ravenfall Inn. So that's where he goes, where he meets Anna, who decides to use her powers to help Colin figure out what happened to his parents and who hurt his parents. And from there, things get very twisty and dangerous and spooky very quickly, as there's a lot of things that neither Colin nor Anna know about what's going on in the greater scheme of things. I really, really enjoyed this book. This has a lot of things I really like. It has a found family trope, which I absolutely love. There is a Jabberwocky named Max who appears in the form of a black kitty like this one, and is just an amazing addition to the story. The end of the story had me all choked up and emotional, and if you're just talking about the end of the story, I give the end of the story 5 stars. Like, I loved it. It was amazing. I'm so into the way this tied up and how everything kind of came together in the end. I really liked Anna and Colin's relationship and seeing them get to know one another and how that relationship developed throughout the story. This is the start of a series. I will absolutely be reading book 2 because I expect the vibes to be similar, with the kind of spookiness and the found family aspects, which make it almost kind of a spoopy book. Like, it balances out the spooky really well, and I would love to learn more about the powers that we see in these people and see how that kind of plays out in book 2, and if we meet anybody else and learn more about different powers that can be found in the world. So really, really enjoyed this one, and glad it came up on my spinner wheel. But that means it's time to spin my wheel again, and we're going to give it a spin and see what I'm reading next. I have 4 choices, 3 of which are graphic novels. So we'll see. Do I get the novel or one of the graphic novels? Unfamiliar. That is a graphic novel. This would be so much easier if I didn't have an arm full of cat. So here we have Unfamiliar, and we're going to meet Planchette, who is a kitchen witch and has high hopes for her new home. Unfortunately, she discovers that her perfect house is haunted. So it looks like this witch is going to have to deal with some ghosts, and I'm very curious to see how that goes down. So this will be my next read. It should be a pretty quick one, and I will check back in a little bit when I'm done to let you know what I thought of it. So I'm back after having eaten dinner. You would have seen me make it in the last clip, and while I was waiting for it to cook, I read the entirety of Unfamiliar. I'm giving this 4.5 stars. This was really cute. This follows Planchette, who is a kitchen witch. She's very good at doing witchy magic to make food. All other kinds of magic less so. And she's moved to a new town, and the only issue with the new town is the house she's found herself in is haunted. So she ends up enlisting help from 3 witches that she meets in town to see if they together can do something about these ghosts. And this was such a cute story. I really like the art in this one. I thought it really added to the vibes and made each character feel very distinct. I liked seeing how she started to deal with these ghosts and how the girls tried to help her. And I'm very invested in the story and where it's going because it definitely had an overarching plot. We learn about each of the characters, so you actually see some stuff that Planchette isn't present for, and it feels like it's going to be a driving force into Volume 2. So this is a graphic novel series I will definitely be continuing. If you're looking for a cute, spoopy graphic novel series, I would highly recommend you check this one out. And here comes my helper, because I would not be allowed to do one of these videos without her. Anyways, it means it's time to film the wheel. She just tried to fall off my desk. And my prompt is Valentina Salazar. So this is the last of my novels. Here we go. Maybe. There. And it's inside it says, oof. If I can get her out of the way so I can read it. It takes a special person to end up in detention on the last day of school, but it takes a really special person to accidentally burn down the schoolyard while chasing a fire-breathing chipmunk. That sold me. I know nothing else about this. It is currently 8:39 and the audiobook's 8 hours. If I can listen to this at 4 times speed, I can finish this tonight. So that is my goal, is to squeeze this one last book in. I don't think I'd be able to get the graphic novel in, but I will try. So we're going to give this a go, and I will check back in with you when I finish this. So I'm back, and I still have an hour left of November 2nd, and I've finished Valentina Salazar is Not a Monster Hunter, and I'm giving this 4 stars. This follows Val, and she and her family are struggling after losing their dad. In this world, there are monsters, and her dad, along with the rest of her family, used to rescue them, help them, save them. And unfortunately, he ended up dying. And it's completely changed Val's life. For the first time ever, she's enrolled in school, and it's not really what she wants to be doing. She wants to go back to tracking down monsters and rescuing them and saving them. And she sees a video on the internet of a supposed dragon egg, but she knows it's not a dragon egg. She knows it's one of the creatures they would have normally gone and saved. So she ends up roping her reluctant brother and sister into going on a mission to rescue this egg and get it back to where it belongs. I quite enjoyed this, and getting to see the monsters and getting to see Val's view of just because something looks like a monster doesn't mean it deserves to be treated as such. I liked seeing how her relationship with her brother and sister played out throughout this novel. I liked learning more about her family dynamics in her extended family and the circumstances surrounding what happened to her father. I think Val has a really, really good heart and really, really cares, and I really connected with that. I also really like the world that was created and getting to see these different monsters and learn more about them. This, I believe, is the first book in a series. At least with the way it reads and the way it ends, it feels like it's the start of a series. So if so, I will definitely continue on with that. I have loved that in this vlog. I have found tons of new series that I would like to check out. That being said, I finished that. So let's spin the wheel again and see which of the final 2 books I'm going to read first. I'm going to try to read both of them, but I will focus on one then the other. Okay, there we go. And the winner is Ghoul Next Door. So So I'm going to read the Ghoul Next Door, and then I will try to read Hollow Bones. Well, Beetle and the Hollow Bones, and I will check back in just over an hour to let you know how I did and wrap this vlog up. So we're back, and it is time to wrap this vlog up. I always take my screenshot for my vlogs before I film my last vlog clip. And you would not believe how long it took me to get her to come over here. I pretended like I was filming, even though I wasn't. Because I figured this vlog has featured so much Cielo that she should be in the thumbnail, because it is really a spoopy vlog / the Cielo vlog. So, my last spin got me the Ghoul Next Door, and I gave this 3.75 stars. In this one, we're following Gray, and on his way to school, he decides to take a shortcut through a cemetery and accidentally stumbles across a ghoul. This ghoul takes an interest in him and starts leaving him gifts, and he gets drawn into something bigger than he expected, especially when his whole idea was just taking a shortcut to school. I liked how the relationship developed between Gray and the ghoul and how that kind of played out. I thought it was really interesting seeing how the two of them communicated with one another and how that kind of played out. It wasn't my favorite art style, but I didn't hate it by any stretch of the imagination, and I was definitely really invested in the story. But it's not like a new fave or anything. It was good. I enjoyed it for what it was, and it was a really quick read too. I think this took me like half an hour tops, so it was a nice little spooky read for my spooky vlog, and it's a graphic novel, and she's being helpful again, guys. I would love to know, what do you think of this content when she just blocks the camera? She wants to know. Inquiring minds want to know, what do you all think of Cielo's camera work? She's such a goof. Anyways, I enjoyed this. Like I said, not a new fave, but I did enjoy my time with it. And then, instead of spinning, because there was only one choice left, I just picked up Beetle and the Hollow Bones, and I finished this at 12:04. So it wasn't quite within my parameters for this vlog, but I'm not going to begrudge myself 4 minutes. I gave this 3.25 stars. In this, we're following Beetle, who is a goblin and is learning goblin magic from her grandmother. But she wants to learn sorcery, and she has this rude, and she has this friend she's made at the mall that she refers to as Blob Ghost, and unfortunately, they can't leave the premises of the mall, so she can only hang out with him when she can go to the mall. Then an old friend named Kat comes back to town, and soon Kat's aunt is threatening to tear down the mall since she's bought it. Kat is an apprentice learning sorcery, and she and Beetle go about trying to find a way to allow Blob Ghost to leave the mall before it gets torn down. I really liked the friendship between Blob Ghost and Beetle. I was interested in that. I will say some of the way this was laid out was confusing, because sometimes the panels were written... I'm just going to go like this. So normally you kind of read like this, and then you move over here. Sometimes they would go like this. She's trying to get my tissue box, guys, and I don't think she's going to fit. So sometimes they were written like this, and then you'd have like a few here, and then a few here, and it was sometimes confusing, so I was reading things out of order, which I didn't enjoy. Maybe I just wasn't understanding, and it was laid out easier than I thought, but like it just wasn't clicking with my brain. So that meant that there were parts that were confusing, and I kind of had to reread because I wasn't sure what I had just read. Because again, it didn't make sense out of order. I will say I do really like the art style in this one. I thought it was very pretty and intriguing, so that was definitely a plus for me. I thought it was interesting seeing Beetle and Kat reconnect, but I wasn't as invested in the story as I could have been which may be due to just the confusing way it was kind of set up when it comes to the panels. So, it wasn't my favorite, but it seems like there may be a book 2. If there is, I will check it out because I like the way it kind of wrapped up and the hints of things that could be coming down the pipeline. So I would be interested in seeing where it goes from here and seeing if I enjoy book 2 more. So, by the skin of my teeth, because I'm giving myself those 4 minutes, I managed to get through every spooky/spoopy book I had left on my TBR in 5 days. I have to say, I'm pretty happy with that. This is going to be one very long vlog to edit, and I'm dreading that, but I'm a few behind, so I've got a little while before I do that. And it means that I didn't have to have these left over for my November TBR, and I can now focus on the Final Book support group this weekend, so that should be fun. All in all, I really enjoyed this vlog, and I loved getting to kind of really sink my teeth into some spooky and spoopy books. They were absolutely what I wanted to read, and I can tell you I'm now a little bit burnt out, so I'm looking forward to being able to read books on my TBR that have a completely different vibe. Which, like I said, is good because I'm reading the Final Book support group, and I don't think that I have a single spoopy or spooky book on there, so that should be a nice little palate cleanser. That being said, I'm going to wrap this vlog up here. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me spooky or spoopy emojis, anything that you associate with those genres. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!